Hey guys, I hope you're excited. Today we're doing something a little different than my usual content. I'm actually really excited for this, but I'm also nervous at the same time. This is probably going to be my first ever solo series. It's going to be me and you guys. I gotta take you through the game Mindustry. I've been playing it since it first came out. I mean, I used to download this game off the itch.io page, play it on every school computer. I mean, I love this game. To like the moon and back, it's one of my favorites. It's still in early access. I feel like it's got enough content for it to be fully considered a game. It's pretty cheap on the store, and it has multiplayer access if you wanted to ever hop in it with your friends. But this is gonna be my first ever solo series, so I'm really excited about that. But without further ado, let's just kind of hop into it. Now you see, I'm starting on, I think this is the starter planet. Unbalanced map, campaign. Higher quality maps. Newer, more polished. Here it is. This is what I want then. So we're gonna start on Serpolo. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm just gonna guess. That's how you pronounce it. The way this game works, actually, we will launch into it, and I will explain it as we go. All right, here's how this game works. So we have our little spacecraft here. What we're doing is we are going to be collecting resources right now, and then they're getting deposited. You'll see when we move to things that are further away. Nope, I guess that goes into it too. When we're collecting stuff that's further away, we have an internal capacity on our ship that will automatically store, I believe, up to 50 items, and then after that, it will go into we bring it back, and then it'll automatically have to drag and drop add it to the thing here. But this game is all about automation, so while that is running, I will show you the fun little doohickeys. This is going to be our little build menu. You'll see it more. I got a tutorial. Scroll wheel scrolls in and out. This looks like it scrolls out far. It doesn't scroll out very far at all. This takes us back to the planet map, so it pulls us all the way out to here. Back. And then, core database shows you everything you have unlocked so far. Schematics. You can go into the workshop. You can actually download pre-built things that you can just throw into the world. I'm not a big fan of that. I kind of like freehanding everything. But the most important part is the tech tree, otherwise called research here. Main thing we are going to want to do is see. So it starts out small, right? You can see there's not a whole lot on here, but 10 copper. This slowly unlocks more and more as it goes down. Water already pre-unlocked. Well, that actually has some additional tiers and stuff. But these are their levels. This is your raw materials, and then we're going to slowly unlock more. We're going to unlock the conveyor belt first, then the junction, and the mechanical drill. You see how it's slowly unlocking more and more tiers. These won't unlock until we do something else, which is most likely research. Something like this. We don't really need a router yet. Okay, so you see how now we have stuff in our build menu. What we're going to do is we're going to go over to the mechanical drill, and it's recommending that we put it here, but the best way to space these out is kind of like this. So you have to have at least one access point. We're gonna delete that one. Left click starts grabbing materials, right click starts deletes materials. Then what we're gonna do is place it here. Actually gonna move this, put a new one here. Do that. Leave, that's access to everything. So now what we can do is we grab the conveyor. We can take it like this. Access point. Bring that over here. Then we build them up and up here. What we can do now is build front for this side. It's going to go up and feed into there as well. So you'll notice that we have. So you'll notice this has this is a 3x3. So that one has no access points. Oh well. We can just delete that then. So you notice that this is actually a 3x3 block. So the big thing you want to remember with. Oh, there's the music. So the big thing you want to remember is you have 9 points of access on this. So you don't want to go too crazy. I mean, I'm going crazy with this because it's just the first level. I don't know if there's an upper part here or not, but see, I'm not sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean this up just a little bit here. So what we can do to make it a little neater is we will take this one and run it up, and then we'll run these across to make it. Gotta make sure it's a merge junction. What is it? So what we want to be doing is making sure we have as much going through these conveyors as possible, because this is going to be our backbone, which I will show you what it is later on. But we're going to start setting stuff up on lead now. Alright, so lead has way less, so what we're gonna do, bring it here, over, and right now it's not, this process isn't super difficult, but when it gets more complicated later, you're gonna enjoy having me gone. I mean, it's not super difficult. You'll catch on pretty quick. Here we go. Yes, the rest of the map unlocked. Alright, so what you'll see now is that we have a full map here. We're gonna freeze time real quick, I think. Yeah, I can still move around. So essentially, this is how most of your maps are laid out. Is you have like a centralized base area right here, right? And then, what you do is you can set up like fortifications. And your goal is to fortify your base while also continually bringing in as much material as possible. Because up here, after I build my turrets, you see this circle here? Inside this area, we're going to have like enemies spawn. And we're going to be doing, essentially it's a tower defense style game. 1 second. Let me go to the research tree real quick. Grab those walls over here. A little more copper. So what we are trying to do right now is we are slowly increasing our. Okay, so we have like infinite time until I build those turrets. It's not gonna do it. So let me show you real quick. Some things just lay on the ground loose here like this, and we cannot harvest them. Water here, we can't harvest that yet. We don't have the right materials for it. And you'll see the lead here. I'll show you this real quick since we're further away from the base. Since we are far enough away, it only stacks up to 30. We have 30 lead now, and then what we have to do is we have to grab it from here, and we transfer it into there. Now, there is lead. What we should be doing right now, right, is this. We're just kind of sitting back on our laurels for a little bit, building up our resources. The main thing you always want to be doing, though, is keeping an eye on this research tab. If you can upgrade something, you're gonna want to do it. The router we don't super need yet, so I'm gonna put that on the back burner for right now. I am gonna get the large wall, and then I think I'm gonna get the scatter as well. I believe this is actually just the last thing. So we go into these. So right now, what we have to do is set up base defenses. So when you drop into a round, you're gonna have a set amount of resources. So the big thing is what we're doing with this world right now is we're trying to build up our resource count, right? Because the higher we have, here, let me show you this real quick. Do you see how right here we're getting a buildup of resources? We want to actually be deviating from that because the buildup of resources is going to lead to us getting those resources back to the base slower, which means that we're not going to be building up how much we have as efficient. So what we're going to want to do is actually, and you'll see me do this a lot when we get to later ones, you have to find a place where you can kind of set up a base defense. That's going to actually be right in here. So you see where the circle is? Anything you build, you cannot build inside the circle, I believe. Yeah, see it's red, you can't build. So what we're going to want to do is set up these copper walls essentially across here. You're going to want at least 2 layers. I'll tell you why in just a second. I'm actually going to do 3 on each for this. So when these, some of them will spawn and be flying, and then some of them will spawn and be ground troops. I believe it starts you out with ground troops. So what we want to do is fortify this place as much as humanly possible against these ground troops. The air troops are going to be more of a problem, but they're not going to be as big of a problem. So after these slowly get built, the big thing of this right now is build speed. So when we launch into other rounds, they're going to have, you have a set amount of time before enemies spawn. This one is a very beginner round, so we don't have to super worry about all that yet. We can kind of plan out, get stuff set up first, then go into it. What I will show you while waiting for this to be built is the circle we have around these shows you how much of a diameter you have to attack. So I don't want to place one because I don't want it to start spawning troops yet. This is the range for the scatter. The scatter is actually an airborne defense. So what I'll typically do, and I'll build this in a second. I'm just waiting for this to fully assemble. What I'm gonna actually do is I'm gonna take the scatters. I'm gonna set up 2 of them as a behind, as a defense further back, and then we're gonna set up. I believe you can usually set up like 6 of the copper treads. So what you may hear me refer to each of these as, which is maybe not, because I typically don't use them by their actual names. You're gonna hear me refer to the duo turrets. These are called the duos. I'm most likely going to refer to them as the copper turrets. So with these, their main fire is going to be copper, as you can see on the tooltip here on the screen. What we want to do, we might just set it up like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perfect, because we want to keep these relatively spaced out, so that we can do this. So we want to have a distance of 5, because that means we can put 2 scatters in. We can put 4 scatters in between them. The turrets are going to be fine because once we're fighting those ground troops, they cannot get past this copper line, this wall of the copper wall here. So what we want to be doing is holding them there. And scrap we don't super need. What we can do now is, I believe, none of this actually works. So what we're gonna do is have a robot here delete all of this stuff. So what a lot of these ruins are here to tell you is, which I already know a lot of this stuff with, like I said, I've played for years. What these ruins are usually here to tell you is like, hey, this is how you could set up a base to be pulling as much resources as possible and funneling them directly into your towers, your turrets, whatever. We actually don't have a solid enough source of lead for me to do the plan like I want to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually grab this. We're gonna scrap that right now. And then what we're gonna do is yeah. Now here's the thing that I was doing, and you'll see why I did this in a second. The reason now I have a line here and a line here is that the enemies will split up between which one is and they'll go for whichever one is the quickest to your base. So the one on the right was more inset, so they were more typically kind of try to go towards that right hand. Which when we get to the later stuff with the way bigger enemies, we're gonna be funneling them in that way. But right now, I think our main goal is gonna be that. And then of course, with left click, we do have our own weapon here, so we can help defend. But my goal is to automate defense as much as possible. Because the better we automate... Ooh, that was almost bad. The better we can automate our defenses at the beginning, the better off we will be towards the end. Now, here's what I'm going to show you. See, I bought the router already, which is good for this. So what it's going to do now is put a router here, a router here. So with this router, conveyors are set to a certain path. I have to explain this before I can explain the router. Conveyors are set to a certain path. With the scroll wheel, you can actually change which direction the conveyor goes in. But also, just by like dragging it, it'll also change the direction as well. So what I'm doing right now is I am setting up a way for the copper to get to these. Now, with a more advanced system, I would set up multiples of these. I'd have junction boxes and stuff to make sure that each of these are getting like a mountain of copper each of them specifically. But what we're gonna do right now, which is what I want to get set up, is we just need to set up these to be drilling at as high a speed as possible. So what I'm going to be doing is trying to position these where through here, run that right down the middle. There, we'll go with the same speed. Perfect. And then all the copper that comes from this gonna go down and funnel directly into that router. So you see what I mean here? This is gonna... The big point of this game is trying to figure out... Also, if you middle click on something, it will auto pull it. So then you don't have to worry about that. So then if you're like building, it makes it way easier to build. Put on there. I believe we should still have access to that. Now with this one, you'll notice it doesn't have as much of a copper output, which actually it may be. It'll probably be fine. We'll be fine for a little bit here. So the reason we're going slower on this building stuff is that we don't have a lot of copper being funneled back to the base right now. Once we start getting all of this, once all this is set up, we are actually going to step back from the lines. I'm going to show you a few examples, of course, of the stuff of us like being attacked, going in, repairing stuff. But the big thing we're going to do is we're going to take all of these other funnel points for materials and we're going to funnel all of it back into the base. Our main goal is to build up our supplies as much as possible. We want to absolutely be rolling in our supplies. Copper is the biggest one. Copper is used for almost everything. Until we reach much higher levels, then titanium will start being our bigger resource. Copper will basically build you all of your tier 1 stuff, but leading into your tier 2s and so on and so forth. Leading in your like tier 2s, so on and so forth, your big building block is going to be titanium. Alright. What I'm gonna do now is, and we're gonna come over here. So what I did was, if you hit E, you can see it down here in the bottom here. If you hit E, you can pause building. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that all of these get built, and then we get a good backlog of copper in our system. So I can just hit the button and boom, all the conveyor belts are built, and we just start sending copper to everything. Just like that. I see how we have the copper build up here. Typically, I would say that's a problem. But for right now, since it's... Okay. This is explaining this, and then I'll go through and do this. Anything built in the radius will be destroyed when a wave starts. A wave will begin now. Get ready. Okay. So, normally I'd say this is a problem, but for right now, these have just been sitting here and making copper. So I'm going to wait until we start getting at least all the copper out of this, and then we will see if it still continues to be a problem. If it does, the first wave has already been taken out. So our next wave is going to have flying troops, so it has a pause on it before we get the scatter. So typically right now it would be a... So what we need to do right now is we're going to establish 2 scatters over top of this whole situation to kind of keep us locked down. Let's... But I will say it like this. Right now, you see how these are all backed up, fully ready? Like, we're in a very ostentatious position right now. We want to be... This is the position we want to be in right now. What we're gonna do is bring... I'm gonna put a router here. Oh, I forgot to say about the routers. So with a router like this, the main thing that the way that a router is laid out is at the bottom is an entrance, and then it will distribute left, right, up. There are more specific routers later on that have more like increase in the... More of an increase in like your control over how much gets distributed, and like and like where the entry point is, where the exit point is. But that is way more. That's way into the future of it right now, and we're still in the very beginning level. What I'm doing now is I'm setting up these drills. I want these to be in kind of a stair-step pattern. The way that the lead usually is something like this. So you want to lay them out to literally get as much as possible. Your big thing is doing these kind of stair-step patterns. They take a little more space, but you see right here, I have a pocket where I can get conveyor belts out of, which is very cool. When you go into planning, like where things go, your big your big first step is always, well, later on, your big first step is always power. But your main step will be figuring out your conveyor belt lines. Conveyor belts, no matter how far you go into the game, pretty much consistently stay the bread and butter of what you are trying to do. So your big points for where you want to keep protection on are going to be your conveyor belts. Because if they take out, if like the enemy can take out your conveyor belts, they've just completely destroyed what your entire supply. Built that. Did. So I'm building the scouters now. The scouters take copper, but they also your scouters take copper, but they also take lead. So it's very important to have the lead. Hope that didn't just build the rest of that. Okay. Well, whole thing's built now. So what we can do is we can do this. Since it is waiting on us to supply these with lead, what I'm gonna let it do is build up a backlog here. What we're gonna do is build up a backlog here. Let these kind of fill up a little bit, and then we're going to put the conveyor belts back in place. You'll see we have a lot of copper or lead built up here. So these are going to start loading in scatter shots. You see right here, enemies approaching in 57 seconds. We're probably good for right now to not worry about them. I will say this is a lot more advanced than they plan on you to do at the very beginning, but it's kind of what you can do with what you have right now. I'm gonna show you. So what we're gonna do once this round kind of ends and you see the kind of like aerial stuff, I'm going to kind of start going more in detail on other base defense stuff. I'm gonna start showing you like you need to be tunneling all your supplies down, which I'll do that in a second. But your main goal is to defend this base down here. When we get into the way harder enemies and stuff, I'll be showing you like 2-tier, 3-tier defense mechanisms. When we get into, there are other levels where you are fighting against. You're fighting against like I'll spin this real quick. What I'm doing right now is I'm setting up defenses right over top of supply lines, because your supply lines, like I said before, if they get crippled, you're out of business. Now the problem with this router, though, which I just realized. Actually, here, I'll show you a quick way to troubleshoot routers. So we need an input from the bottom, right? With the junction, this will pass directly over top of this, directly into there, and it's just going to get fed directly from this. The junction here as well will have a problem. So we're going to build across, and then what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to put a router here. Build a conveyor belt across, because right now we don't have to super worry about conserving space, so I'm just gonna kind of play it out. You'll see that when I build over top of another conveyor, it will automatically turn that into a junction, which is nice. It's a lot easier. Okay. See, these are your foot soldier guys. They're kind of your main bread and butter of like foot attacks. And then you'll see that it says wave 3 of 10, another wave in 2 minutes. So it gives you a little bit of prep time to rebuild, get everything reset back up again, or you can click this little button here and automatically start the next wave. We have 2 more of these walking guys. They're going to be no problem. So we're gonna do is we're gonna come down to here, and we're gonna start planning out the copper going back to base. That's gonna line us up good. That lines us up good. And we really don't have to worry about that extra copper right there. This is going to come down, and we're just going to combine this into one pathway. Because what we're also going to do is set up some of these drills over here. This. And you may be going, Tyler, you blocked this one off. No, I did not. There's a pathway. Another big thing you want to do, and this is really just for later levels, is you want to be planning out your supply routes back. You don't want to be running supply route. You don't want to be building something and then having to rebuild it again because you didn't plan out your supply routes. It's insanely frustrating, especially when you're a new player and you're setting up stuff like this. So you're running the supply route back. Also, for certain things, we're not going to do it for this specifically because we're going to have a lot coming back on these lines, and they're not like faster. But don't be afraid to put several different types of materials on the same route, on the same routing lines. We're gonna launch this attack as well. Oh, see, they blew a little hole in the wall here. Later on, I will show you there are things called repairers that will automatically heal your walls. I'll show you the best ways to kind of build those into your walls. You don't want to put them too close to the front, but also you don't want to put them too far into the back where they don't reach everything. But also, the big thing you're going to really want to hone in on is these big tier 2 walls. They recognize these as stronger to get through than these, the little tier 1 walls. So if you build a wall like this and you want to funnel them through a different pathway, a good thing to do is line that other wall with these, because then they will continue to go down. They'll be trying to find the quickest way possible. What I like to do is I will build like thick walls on the other pathways to kind of funnel them down towards like a more centralized spot and keep them away from all of my like conveyor belts and things like that. And then on that path, I'll set things up along the edges to be slowly taking their health as they're going down these paths. We have 10 seconds left on this. I'm just gonna go ahead and speed it up. I'm trying to get to there. So that was one of the aerial units. I was gonna try to show you it, but my defenses got to it a little fast. They look very similar to your craft, but they are they have much less health, and they let me see if I can get another one of these. Nope, just one walkie, guys. Oh well. So what we're doing right now, which I'll kind of explain the wave defense stuff here real quick. With the wave defense part, we're actually just defending the area, and then after we defend the area, we can come back. Oh, there. Okay, here, show you real quick. So quick comparison, because this guy is not lit up. This is what they look like. This is what we look like. So these are, I don't remember the names of them. Later on, we get stuff where you can build like fleets of these guys to help you. The fleets of like good guys to help you. So what you'll see is these guys actually are not firing. This is all just shots from the scatters. The thing is that these guys, I'll show you real quick in the description. They are locked, fire alternating bullets at enemies. Oh no, they can target air as well. They target air attacks and they also target ground attacks. Now their fire rate is slow. It's kind of slower, but they are very good. And then of course with all of these weapons, you can give them fluids and stuff that will increase the fire rate. Depending on what things you put into them, it increases the damage as well. I haven't played around with all this stuff too much yet, but you'll see why when we get to the electronics. It makes life a lot easier. Alright. And I got 3 more of these little guys. So now you'll see we have this production center kind of up and running. What I'm going to do is try to get this one kind of up and running here. So when it's more of a like circular shape, what I like to do is just leave a path in between them. That's pretty much it. And then something like that. And then you can just run conveyors like this. And then right along the top here. Then that. What I like to do is freehand build it in is I will freehand build the design out in while it's paused so I can play with the design more, and then afterwards I'll just do this. Now it's fully built. Let's see, are there any resource nodes other than this one we haven't touched? I believe so. So what we could be doing, and you'll see me probably do this in later levels, which I'm just trying to be as specific as possible in this one. I'm gonna kind of cut through some of the other ones when we play them. I'll give you like a brief run through of what they are, and then I'll probably do like a cut through of me setting up stuff and running through it. Right now you'll probably see a lot more of me playing instead of just like me like pausing and stuff. Instead of like a few cuts through the different areas, because I'm trying to give you like a good groundwork for what everything kind of looks like. See how you'll see this in the next wave too. We have layers of these exposed, but because we have an upper part right here, and then we have these and these right here, they're gonna keep targeting this section right here because they feel this is the quickest way to get into the base. I accidentally deleted all those. So what you might want to do in certain levels is like leave a design similar to this, but then like remove this block. But with those kind of designs though, I will warn, it is much more difficult to keep yourself defended because you have to constantly be rebuilding. With this kind of design here, where you just rebuild off the top of the level, it's way lower on resources. You're not constantly you shouldn't constantly be having to rebuild. But also, we're still early stages. Nothing's going to go too crazy. Another thing I will point out while I build this is you may see the scrap. This scrap right here. In previous playthrough, I went through and I just harvested all of it, just to add it to my stuff to have. Which I think I might, because I think you do need it to unlock certain things. But also, scrap is useless to you. Scrap is pretty much useless to you after you unlock the things that it unlocks. Because if you start out a level with it, unless you're going to manually pull it out every single time of your gears, you're going to manually pull it out and throw it into machines, it's pretty much useless. We'll just do some loose stuff here. I think we might just, we'll probably just add this over to the lead conveyor belt. I mean, because if the big thing is, right, and we will get, I think they're called sorters. We will get them later on, where it will just take the supplies and automatically sort it, where you don't have to or like you can build like conveyor belts with like 28 different materials on it, and then it'll just like boop, 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 which is great when we get further in. Further in, you'll get stuff like you'll be smelting like silicon. You'll be making like I think it's called metaglass. But you'll be making more like high-tech stuff. Like if you look at the Duo's description again here, you can see if I put silicon into it and increase the fire rate by like 50%, it gives me a 5 times ammo multiplier. So it gives you get more ammo per silicon that goes into it, and it does 12 damage comparative to the 9. Oh, and it gives it homing as well. So as soon as it shoots, it will lock onto a target and not go away until it hits. which is great because that is a great defense tool. But also, silicon is such a high value thing to produce that certain times you just say, certain times I just say, well, you know, I'd rather use it to have as a building material. Here is one of our first instances of the bigger guys. When we get to later levels, you'll see less of these small ones and more of these bigger ones. We're just going to be kind of doing that. And then you'll notice if you stand near them, they are going to target you. Oh, there's my first death with playthrough, actually. If you stand near them, they will target you instead of your machines and stuff. So and it costs, I don't believe it costs anything to rebuild your cruiser. And then you'll see as well, when I go to rebuild, it has ghostly images of what was destroyed. I'm gonna go ahead and decraft these as well, because I'm gonna get some of the material back instead of losing it completely. And then I'm going to just rebuild them. I believe decrafting some of the stuff back. This is the final wave, boss wave, some would say. I think these are the bigger guys. So what I can do now is I can kind of skirt the edge here, and they won't like fire at my turrets and stuff. Yeah, there you go. Once enough resources are collected, you can launch by selecting launch sectors from the map. But, yep. So, we've been funneling all sorts of stuff back into this. We have a new sector going, but I am actually going to pause real quick, and I will be back when we have 5,000 of each material, with the exception, actually, we'll do 5,000 scrap as well. So I will be right back after we get 5,000 of each material. Hey guys, it's actually been about 2 or 3 minutes, but I had completely forgotten about the fact that there is an item limit. So what the item limit is with this lower tier core, which you can upgrade it later in the game, but you're only allowed to store 4,000 of each item. I walked away, I got something to drink, and I came back. Yeah, so now that we're at the 4,000, you'll see that items are getting incinerated on their entry point into the thing. That's a little fire icon just giving you a heads up, being like, hey, look, we can't store any more of this item. So I was gonna wait till we had about 500 of this, so that's while we wait for that, I did want to say there are a few more things we can get in the storage upgrade, which are the distributor. Distributes input items to 7 outputs equally. This is actually a 2x2 block version of the router. The sorter, here it is. I told you about it before. If an input item matches the selection, then it passes forward. Otherwise, it's to the left or right. Then we'll go into these in a second. The bridge conveyor is very nice. So what the bridge conveyor will do is, I'll show you real quick. Over a section, which is a good one to use. So I'll show you. Typically, you cannot build a conveyor over top of these blocks. They're wall blocks. So just automatically switch to it. If you use a bridge conveyor, you can actually build over some of these external bumps in the walls. So you can actually build a bridge over these external bumps in the walls, which gives you much easier access to stuff. I don't remember how far actually. Yeah, it'll only go 5 blocks, including the intro and the exit. But I want to show you the cool little animation. Oh, didn't do it. So let's see if I can get it to display. Weird. It went really fast for some reason. So typically with the bridge conveyor, it will it'll build and then it'll like that to connect it. Let's see. Put it there. Okay. And I'll show you the distributor. This is the distributor. You put an input. Input, I believe, is one of these two, and then it'll distribute out. Let's see. Let me go to the research tree here. We'll get these other sorters here. Similar to a standard sorter, but outputs the selected items to the sides instead. It's the sorter, but whatever you input here that you want to get sorted will go out the sides, and then extras will go out the top. And then the overflow gate, one of my favorite items in the game. So what the overflow gate does, it only outputs items to the left and right if the front path is blocked. So what you can do, and then underflow, the opposite. It blocks the front. It outputs to the front if left and right are blocked. So what you can do with these is in a situation like up here where you're stocking up, you're stocking these, you could take an overflow gate, and as long as you set it up correctly, I believe like that. What you can do now is, since this is fully stocked, you can actually take and start pulling from that as well. So now, on top of this producing stuff to go to your attack sections, it's also going to be sending raw material back to the main base as well. So overflow gates, one of the, in my opinion, one of the best blocks in the game. They're like routers, except you don't have to, except it doesn't distribute evenly. I don't know why I'm doing this, because nothing's gonna matter, but because it doesn't really matter. But I do it for my own health. I'll show you up here. It's a sector captor. What it means by that is we defeated all the waves of enemies. So by defeating all the waves of enemies, we've actually captured this. And now that we've kind of maxed out, I believe the tech tree is maxed. Yeah, we can't get anything else. So now that we've maxed out the tech tree, I'm going to show you new stuff. Hey guys, so this is actually being recorded after I just finished the second episode. But it's looking like it's going to be a longer one, probably a two-parter. We'll just leave this whole first level as kind of the first one. So I hope you guys enjoyed. There's definitely going to be at least 2 parts to this. If you enjoyed it, I hope you stick around, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.